Hello and welcome to the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Why, hello there. It's Russ along with Michelle and Kyle as always, and this is the latest edition of the Infectious Groove Podcast, and we have a really fun topic for us, I think, overall, for the main topic. And if you're a new listener or a long-time listener, we always do the main topic in the second half of the show. This week's topic is going to be the continued underpayment of artists and the new version of that.
Oh, I knew that.
The way that artists are underpaid. Oh, yeah, I have no doubt. And I'm really looking forward to the questions that I sent 2 or 3 days ago on the discussion points that we're going to have. I'm really looking forward to all the well thought out.
Be right back. I have to go to the bathroom.
Notes that you made on that. Artists have been taken for a ride by the industry since the first artist sold his first song. And recently there has been a kerfuffle, if you will, about the dollar amounts behind all of this streaming that goes on. And that is what we're going to talk about in the second half of the episode. And it's also worth noting, by the way, that the day this episode comes out will be our exact 2-year anniversary as a podcast, which I think is pretty awesome. Is that just all of your fans that you have pre-recorded?
Yes.
Okay. Which I think is awesome that we've been doing it for 2 years. And we talked about this before, like we were gonna do some sort of 2-year celebration, but like one of the points of the show was talking about like how more people should listen to more music and appreciate artists more, and what better way to celebrate that than by bringing to light this issue that the latest way artists are constantly getting screwed over. Last week on the program, we kicked off our 5th season, and it was right after our latest of our 2-week breaks, which are always Michelle mandated, the 2-week breaks every 3 months. We got feedback.
Wait, did you say every 3 months? Because I will also accept that.
Somewhere along those lines. Oh, it's every 6 months, isn't it?
Nope, 3 months. I heard it.
And we got a bunch of feedback on our topic last week, which was a review of Michael Jackson's History Continues album. And there's some in there, sprinkled in there is feedback on our 2-week break as well, and the root cause and some effects from it as well. So let's jump right in.
Feedback, Joe.
Don't worry about that. Right. There's rock and roll be without feedback.
The actual first piece of feedback from last week's episode came from my son, of all people, who tweeted at me instead of just telling me, which I thought was funny, but I appreciate it. We always appreciate any sort of feedback we get on social media. Zach said, I know that this album alone got a few of my friends who are teenagers to look into why Michael was so angry on the album compared to the album before it. I love that he can be so angry and frustrated and still deliver his message of love, that he showed compassion to everybody, which I think is cool. That's
awesome.
Great takeaway. James Porter left on our Facebook page. He had heard the part about how you spoke to the youths to find out the name of BB No Cash or whoever, and he used that gif of I can't remember his name now. That says, "Oh hey fellow kids," you know. I can't think. Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh hey fellow kids," you know. He's like Michelle rolling into work, like, "Oh hey fellow kids." And I said, "Yeah, there's some real Michelle Gold in this episode." And he replied and says, "You were not kidding. Do you need a hug?" Also, we were without power the whole 2 weeks you guys were on break, so I'm pretty sure I can blame that on you guys. Now the power is back and things are looking up. I mean, not for Michelle. She's going to get blasted. She's going to need to find a new best friend, but I'm doing better.
Nah.
We had quite a few new listeners look into the podcast this week, obviously due to the popularity of an artist like
me.
Right. Yeah, obviously. When you think about some of the greatest pop icons in the history of the world, there's like, it's a really small discussion. It's like Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Michelle.
Yep.
Yeah. Rich said to us that I just stumbled across your podcast. Great listen. Thanks for covering one of my favorite albums. As for Michael, it's up there with Dangerous for me, but I do agree that the 3 opening tracks in that order are perfect. Now I'm off to check out your Invincible review. He never followed up on that, so he probably didn't like the Invincible review.
We listened to Invincible?
Yes, we reviewed Michael Jackson's Invincible. And there was feedback on you not doing well on that review either.
Was it for the tournament?
Nope. Okay. Why don't you like me? The Beer in Front podcast said to us that your hiatus was at the same time that I got COVID. I'm not saying your show prevents anything, but the numbers don't lie. Welcome back. which I thought was great. Anthony says, History is one of my favorite Michael Jackson albums. Stranger in Moscow and Human Nature are probably my 2 all-time favorite songs of him. Michelle, though, you have got to rethink that 6 rating you gave.
I rethunk it to a 7.
You bumped it up a 1 based off of the greatest hits portion, which contains some of the greatest pop
No, I said it was a 6
ever.
without it, a 7 with it, and then you gave me so much shit. I said fine as a 7-8.
No. No, you said if it included the greatest hits, then I would bump it up to a 7.
Yeah, you
which
based
means
your
you
rating
gave
on the part we didn't even listen to.
Yeah, which you gave a 1 to some of the greatest pop songs ever written by anyone ever.
Yeah, but they didn't come from that album.
Oh boy.
Feedback on the Tom McDonald song that you someone asked you to listen to, you listened to, gave your feedback, and now someone's giving feedback on your feedback.
Yeah, actually, I actually had listened to that before they had ever mentioned it. It pops up on my YouTube all the time.
As soon as I passed that on, I was like, I know he's already heard
Yeah.
this. But that Tom McDonald song, Fake Woke, is damn good. I just listened to it. Thank you so much, Infectious Group Podcast, for turning me on to it. So that's kind of like somebody suggested that we mention it, then we mentioned it, now someone else is listening to the song. So that's fantastic. Oh, now there was one sort of correction for me. No, it is a correction for me. Last week during the episode, I think I continually used the term 1993 trial when I was referring to when everything started with Michael Jackson. There was no trial in 1993. And an MJ fan was very, very, very kind about it. It wasn't like, oh, damn it, and they actually apologized for even writing the tweet correcting, that. And I said, no, there's enough misinformation out there about the guy without me adding to it.
Right.
So, yeah, there was no trial in 1993. And the one time he did go to trial, he was found innocent on all 14 counts. So
that's what the whole money thing was about, right? To prevent
the 93
from prevent
charges.
it from going further.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what, yeah.
So, and actually, someday in the future, maybe we should just do an episode on the whole thing, because I know all the facts and it wouldn't hurt to educate Michelle at least.
I'm sure you've told me everything.
I'm certain that I have. Aaron from I Had to Say It podcast says, just for the record, I had a mini disc Walkman and I actually still have it somewhere. So again, Michelle needs to be reminded.
So that's the other person? The other 2 people that bought it?
Yeah. And he's still got his somewhere. We had a listener named D said, I just now listened to History Continues for the first time ever because of your podcast. And now what I need to happen is Michelle to figure out her Twitter password so I can follow her and then angry unfollow her for her heinous rating of this album. We got a reply from someone who simply replied, Almond Brothers, with a laughing emoji. And then followed up and said, is that like Holland Oates as one guy?
It's not.
No, I don't.
Shit.
I don't think so. Garrett from the Ever Trending Story podcast said, this was a wonderful episode. I listened to some of the songs on the album just now, and you guys weren't kidding. MJ is pissed. Yes, and has every right to be. We had some of these, I'm not even going to read. They're just kind of Twitter handles, and I don't want to, mispronounce anybody's Twitter handles or anything, like somebody mispronounced one of the French titles on the album last week.
What was it?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but you
should. Then how do you know I was wrong?
So this listener said, just got to listen to this episode. Great and entertaining. I laughed out loud when they said this is 10 out of 10 just for having the balls to release those lyrics, which, yeah, I think just for doing that, holy cow, what a masterpiece. This one kind of cracked me up a little bit at the beginning. Michael Jackson is such a misunderstood talent. His content cannot be critiqued by regular music fans. I was like, I don't like where this is going, but you guys handled it really well. It's true that only a person who truly loves his music can talk about it without any ulterior motive. You guys really appreciate the album, and it's clear that you were able to include the art with the artist, which I think, like I said, with that one record, you got to talk about that stuff because the record is so focused on that.
Yeah.
The Docking Bay podcast said to us, another great episode. So glad you guys are back. You're the bright spot in my otherwise dreary day. Loving the playlist, and it's a nice way to get my diversity fixed. I have a suggestion for your vinyl channel. You should do a video about top 5 albums with headphones. Keep up the great work. And I did put that on the list of videos I'm going to shoot.
I don't understand.
I don't really listen to, well, you know how you're wearing headphones right now? You can also listen to music through headphones if you so choose. And a lot of people feel like there's some albums that lend themselves very, very well to sitting and just really isolating yourself with headphones and concentrating on the music. See, okay, I'm sorry. This is people who like music.
Oh, got it.
Just like there's expensive speaker systems that you listen to music through, there's expensive headphones that you do the same thing with.
I feel like this is going to go the way of the mini disc conversation. She said, I know what you're talking about. First bit of feedback from Seth this week was, laugh my ass off. Michelle gave this album a 6 out of 10. I can't stop laughing.
I thought he was mad at me.
There was other further tweets at some point in this, yes, where he was mad at you.
Why?
This is great. A listener named Steven said, I love this episode. Absolutely love the 10 rating. I allowed the 8 rating, and the 6 rating is scandalous. Which I thought was great.
Yes.
Ryan said, a 6? And the greatest hits gets it 1 point? I feel the need to retract the 48 Michelle is greats that I've put in my feedback before. Please please show her your most disappointed face, is what Ryan asked me to do.
Go ahead.
So that was it. I was showing you. I feel like I'm always looking at you with my most disappointed face.
Shit.
Another Michael Jackson fan said, thank you so much for this, and I really appreciate your guys' YouTube channel as well. Michelle can be something.
Something good or something bad?
When she was given the context of the tracks, it seemed like she really seemed to appreciate him more, but I absolutely loved her reaction to Michael swearing.
It was an F.
He did. Michael did say an F. The New Infectious Groove podcast is a great discussion and review of one of Michael Jackson's best albums. The album is criminally underrated considering the huge success of songs like Scream, You Are Not Alone, Earth Song. It's Michael Jackson's last truly fantastic album, and I agree with most of what you guys said about it. If you listen to the lyrics, the songs are great, but the lyrics take it to another level. This man was defending himself in the only way you could after 1993, which I totally agree with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Listener Emmy said, I appreciate the way you guys spoke about Michael's life in relation to the album. I think it really humanized him in a way that non-fans probably weren't very exposed to, but done in a way that you didn't make it sound like you guys were just obsessed fans, so it's more credible, which I agree with. I feel like there's a lot of very well-meaning Michael Jackson fans out there that come off as so defensive, which I get, that like people instantly just, they're like, well, you just love his music, and so I'm not gonna listen to that, you know. So I'm happy to throw our voice in the chorus of like, quote, regular music fans that are like, no, here's the story on this. Salazar said, I love your respectful approach to Michael and the fact that you were unafraid to stand up for the truth. Rare stuff after 30 years of constant slander, body shaming, and belittling the man that he never deserved. History was also perfectly described and understood, in my opinion, which I think is awesome, and that speaks to the point you were talking about, Kyle, with the body shaming and whatnot. He's got to be the most body shamed person ever in the history of the world. Like, I don't think anybody ever said anything about his weight. Well, I don't know. Actually, near the end, people, like in the last 5 years, people were like, he's too thin. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Give the guy a break. He actually did an interview one time because he had like kind of a Prince style beard, like, you know, like the line down, and like instantly the tabloids were like, well, this guy and his facial hair. And he did an interview where he was like, really? Like, really now I can't even grow facial hair? Like, you know.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. AMC 9064 said, a new subscriber here. I absolutely love the fair and balanced approach to reviewing of one of my favorite Michael Jackson albums. It's always great to see someone has clearly invested a lot of time into understanding the albums. They're obviously speaking to you and I here, Kyle. and the messaging and going off, instead of going off of media sound bites and biased reviews. Great work. Absolutely looking forward to hearing more of your show, which I think is awesome that we're getting that type of feedback. There is a Twitter account, called Injustice for Some, that advocates for a lot of falsely accused people, and obviously Michael Jackson is a big one, and they have something like 20 or 30,000 Twitter followers, and they listened to the episode and retweeted it for us, which was awesome, and it said, I'm so glad I listened to this. Russ and the crew at Infectious Groove give some great insights into the history album, and I think I agree with what I think I agree with most is the courage it took Michael to make this album. In a day and age before social media, this podcast is absolutely a must listen, which I think is awesome.
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, they didn't like name you by name or anything, but like,
that's okay. Michelle's great.
I've heard that. I feel like that's what is that they call fake news?
Yes, I think that's what they call it.
Dr. Andrew Green listened to our episode. Yeah, and I had to double take 3 times because I was like, is that Anthony Green? Like, didn't he?
Anthony?
Yeah, because didn't he die? Isn't that a character from ER? No? He says, I love this episode and I appreciate it very much. Absolutely love how you guys talk about MJ. You talk about him in very high regard and very protectively, which, yeah, I mean, that's...
I was thinking Hank Green.
Dr. Andrew Green follows up his original tweet with one other thing.
Oh, boy.
Michelle's original rating of 6 for this album is hilariously absurd. Oddly, I couldn't find it in me to get angry. I could only laugh. Admittedly, this is an album that grows on you. It wasn't until I was like 15 that I listened and said, holy fuck, this is artistic. I just, of course, replied to him and said, yeah, we just kind of laugh along with Michelle when things like that happen.
You're laughing with me, not at me, right?
Yeah. No, not at you. It's either laugh or be super angry.
Oh.
So I would rather just laugh. This one here, I kid you not, I'm reading it exactly as it's written. You and Kyle clearly have respect for Michael Jackson as an artist. and also as a human being who endured more than I think we can fully comprehend. However, unlike many of you, you at least try. Michelle, well, for your contribution of a 5 out of 10, I give you a 5 out of 10.
It was not a 5 out of 10.
So, yeah, but you've been officially rated now. Someone gave you a rating. How's it feel?
Deserved.
We had another listener write in and said, hey, I'm currently listening to your podcast, and I have to say you guys absolutely made my day. I can congratulate you on having the humility to do research about the allegations and not just throw out some sort of hot take. Thank you for a job very well done, which I think is awesome. And there was a ton more feedback that I could include. We're going to end up running long just from people saying thank you and whatnot. And it's like, you two know this from just dealing with me personally. Anytime I see a new piece of media about MJ, the first thing I always say is, oh boy, here we go. You know? And so I'm glad to put something out there that goes against all the horseshit that you hear. You know, and I'm really glad that everybody liked it. And like I say, we joke about the ratings thing all the time, but I like that people had fun with it, and everybody wasn't just like, "Oh, it's the end of the world, Michelle. You know, how dare you?" You know, like people had fun with it, which I thought was great. Especially, and I want to be clear to everyone that Michelle does have her Twitter password back now, and did reply to many @s this week.
I never got logged out. It turns out.
Yeah, I know. Who knew? So, anyways, we greatly appreciate all the feedback, and I didn't mention this last week, but in addition to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything, you can leave us a voicemail at 313-364-9899, and we will be more than happy to play your feedback on the air. Now, we are going to move right along to, honestly, one of my favorite segments that we do, and I think this might be the greatest segment in the history of podcasting. Our Jammies.
That's it?
Yeah, I think so. Our Jammy Jams is probably the greatest segment in the history of podcasting. For me this week, two things that I've been listening to. One thing just came out of nowhere was the song Flawless by Dorothy. That's about 3 or 4 years old now.
That's a jam.
It is such a jam. And I have no idea why it just flew into my head the other day, but it flew into my head and it was there all day so much that like at 5:01, I punched out of work, came downstairs and put the record on like immediately.
You
like
own the record?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a good album. It's not the greatest album I've ever heard. Flawless is probably the best song on it, in my opinion.
Do you know that we saw her one time?
No, we did not. I did not see Dorothy.
She opened for, I want to say, either Jen Wigmore or Kaleo when we saw them.
Given the history of this podcast, you'll forgive me if I don't take your memory to go on something.
Okay. It comes up on my Facebook feed every year, and I'm like, shit,
oh, wow.
I missed her.
Well, then, yeah, I totally didn't even know that. But
oh, wait, maybe it's Bishop Bruce.
I would go see her, probably. Damn it. And then this past week, obviously nothing humorous about this at all, but last week we did lose Ronnie Spector, who was one of the great voices of the 1960s with Phil Spector and the Wall of Sound. And I would challenge anybody who claims to be a music fan to not hear those opening notes to Be My Baby and just instantly know what's coming. And, you know, obviously Phil Spector's production on that track has a great deal to do with what you're listening to, but Ronnie Spector's vocal is incomparable. And, you know, she had a big resurgence when I was a kid too, with the Eddie Money, Take Me Home Tonight was a big hit in the 80s. And that song is called Take Me Home Tonight, but the hook of it is Ronnie Spector singing Be My Baby. So she kind of had like that's really how I knew about her when I was a kid. And then, you know, then you're like, oh, she was a big deal, you know. So we lost her. She passed away. Michelle, you always ask, it was an old age issue. She was in her late 70s. So
it's not even that old.
But, you know, well, I always say this every time, but it's better than, you know, 40 or, you know, it's a more appropriate age to pass.
It is music industry old.
I wonder if Rolling Stone's going to do a cover with her saying she made it to 80 like People Magazine did with Betty White.
People wanted to argue with me about that on the internet, about how they write, well, that got printed up way before she died.
People want to argue with you a lot.
They do. Yeah. And I'm like, you guys are dumb.
No, people want to argue with you a lot in person too.
People are not you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's just you.
People being Michelle.
That's just you.
One other thing was I subscribed to the Third Man Records Vault, and I recently got the Vault 50 package, which is a double LP of the White Stripes live at the Detroit Institute of Arts in November of 2001. Not a lot to say about that era of the Stripes that hasn't been said, but every so often, because I'm so heavily into later White Stripes and Jack's solo material, every so often, man, when you throw on a record like an early White Stripes show, you're just like, Jesus Christ, what a force this was, for two people. So that's been what I've been listening to. Before I pass it over to you for your Jamie Jams, I want to tell you, Kyle, that last week I had the chance to listen to the new Nas record. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man.
Like, I know you were going on about how good it is. I mean, that's like, first rap album in a long time that like I'm going to find as soon as it's available on vinyl, and I'm going to own that. Every track on that is like the classic rap track.
Yeah.
But no Adele?
I still have not. No, it was suggested to me last night when we had people over. Somebody went to the bin, and I was like, "Pull anything but Adele." I'm holding off on that just to irritate Michelle.
You could have listened to it and just lied to me about it this whole time.
No, for sure. The only thing I've ever heard from the new Adele album is I heard the chorus to "Easy on Me" the week that like it came out, and that's the only thing that I've heard because I literally heard it and was like, someone like you again, and then I haven't listened to the rest of the record yet. And I know you guys said the rest of the record is not like that, but you don't believe us. Now I'm doing a bit. Because I have plenty of other music to listen to. So anyways, Kyle, thank you for that suggestion of the Nas record. It's not that I would have avoided Nas. I just would have looked at it and been like, oh, okay. And then when I was driving along and I put on our playlist, actually, and then it came up and I was like, holy shit, this is great.
It's just like listening to some old record of his. Like he's still on fire like he always has been.
I got a Fuji's The Score vibe from it, which I mean in a very complimentary way. Yeah. What have you brought forth for us this week, Kyle?
I've actually been listening to a lot of Kanye West this week, but not new Kanye West, like not Donda or whatever version he's released recently.
Wait, wasn't he supposed to come out with something?
Well, so that might have been just a rumor because there's a bunch of people that he's been around. He's been working on stuff in the studio, and then people assume, or other people open their mouths about the shit that's going to come out, and then it doesn't. So I had heard through the grapevine that there was supposed to be a song that he was featured on that come out on Friday, and it didn't. So I don't know. Yeah, shocking.
So what were you listening to, Kyle, as opposed to Michelle asking us about some stuff that you can't listen to?
He has a compilation album called Kanye West Presents Good Music, Cruel Summer. And goddamn, I want to say that it's one of his best albums.
Really?
It's just... everything on it is just
I feel
fire.
Like, am I wrong on this? Because I'm very Kanye adjacent. Like, I'm not an expert on him. There's two camps in Kanye, right? There's pretty much like 808s and Ford, and then, or do I have the divide wrong? I feel like there's people that are like 808s and Ford is the shit, or people are like, up till he did 808s.
People like Graduation. People swear like the Graduation and all those albums are like his best work. I'm on the latter half of that where he started to be super like different and creative and like explore different like mediums of what he was doing.
Yeah, you like your artists to express themselves. Yeah.
You can't deny the greatness of his early work, but like the progression is what gets me.
Yeah. Me too.
And with this, it like he does have a lot of features a lot of the time, but like this whole album is just people that there's a ton of features because it's a compilation album. But it is just it's on fire.
Is Michelle on any of the tracks?
No, she was.
Are any of the tracks about Michelle?
She was left off of this one.
That's weird.
Again?
That's weird. I bet she was on the original one, but then when they re-uploaded it to Spotify, they took her tracks out. Too much swearing. So what else besides...
Or not enough.
Yeah, or not enough. Besides Kanye, what else?
I also was listening to Life of Pablo. Too.
Oh, right on. Yeah. So more Kanye.
So that, and then there's...
That's a divisive record, right? That's one that, like, that record specifically, people love or hate, right?
Yeah, it's because he started doing so much different stuff to where, like, I don't know.
I need to get me a Kanye education.
If you're gonna...
I know a guy.
You're going to send him over tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like you said, there are people who like just stick to his early work and then say that's he's off the rails now. Like what is this shit? And then there's the other people that gravitate towards like wow, like he's like doing all this amazing stuff that whatever. But the Life of Pablo is just I don't know. It's just another excellent piece of. I don't think that he's ever put out. Even the gospel album that he put out, like, was done damn well for what it was done.
Right.
Like, I'm not a huge gospel fan, but he did the job that he was trying to do and did it well.
Yep.
Beyond Kanye,
it's weird. I would think gospel would be huge in your house.
You mentioned that the reason they did claim that he put out a gospel record because he wanted to become he wanted to have a number one record again.
I'd do that,
and he was competing.
I would do the hell out of that.
He was competing against other people, the other huge artists in the rap industry, and didn't think that it would get that far up. So
I've told people for years that if I was ever going to release, like if I ever became a music artist, my first 3 albums would be called, well, first of all, it'd be called Michael Jackson's Thriller, would be the name, like the whole thing. That way, like just because accidental purchases alone, right? My second album would be called The Eagles' Greatest Hits. And my third album would be called Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
Like, and I would have my artist name before it, but the title of the record would be that. Like, just because, hey, you throw enough irons in the fire,
That reminds me of when we all used to use LimeWire and whatnot, and everyone would just title it would be some person you never heard of.
Which, let me retroactively correct everyone on Earth. GNR never did Every Rose Has Its Thorn. That's Poison. Damn it.
So you would go to download a track, it would be just something that like hadn't come out yet, and you're like, oh sweet, and you'd go download it, and it's just some guy you've never heard of before because it said whatever artist you were looking for.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
I'm waiting for Michelle to be like, that's my bad about the Poison thing. I'm the one who uploaded it. I just thought that was GNR. So a bunch of classic Kanye for you.
Yeah, beyond Kanye, I did. It's just one song, but there is a gentleman named Johnny Yukon. I think I've mentioned it before, way early on in the podcast, but he has a song called Lies that is a jam.
What, rap as well?
Yeah. It's like it's rap.
See that? How when I ask him what genre it is, he can just get it squared away real quick.
Yeah.
That was like 30 seconds of,
as opposed to the 5 minutes of silence.
Rap.
I always have to
hold on. Excuse me one second. Are you having a stroke? Are you okay?
Will it get me out of the podcast?
Do you need your life alert? Do you need your life alert?
Push the button already.
I always have to think about it when I'm asked something like that because there's there's gangster rap and
stomp and
there's
holler?
hip hop and there's so many different it is rap, but
right on. Yeah. So much easier way to get that out of you than somebody over here on the other side of the table. Michelle, what were you listening to this week?
I have one.
Okay.
I'm finally on the Billie Eilish train.
Oh, good.
Yes, I listened to her
new record,
and it's fire.
Is it not really though? It's so good.
It's so good, and so
like
that's what I've been listening to.
I'm sure I mentioned this on the show, but when I was blind listening to it for the first time on vinyl, I was down here just like cleaning up stuff and going around the basement. Every single track that started, I was like, oh damn, like it's so good.
Yeah,
it's such a good record.
Yeah, so that's what I just
did. Neither of you get a chance to listen to the new Lumineers? Because I know you're both fans.
I started to.
So
yesterday.
What had happened was I thought it was just a single, and I listened to the one song and I liked it. And then yesterday he was like, the whole record came out, and I was like, oh no, I fucked up.
I just wanted to get both of your takes
I've only
on
made it through 1 through 3.
I know every artist says this, but they posted on their social media, we just released the best album we've ever made. And I know a lot of artists say that, but like if they're going to say that, I kind of am more interested than I would have been.
Yeah, and I've listened to the 3 tracks, and it sounds like the Lumineers made an album. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. I haven't been able to dig into it further than that.
Sure.
The single sounds like a Lumineer song.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Which, Michelle, is your favorite genre, stomp and holler.
Are they stomp and holler?
Speaking of which, another new track that came out yesterday that I listened to a couple of times, but wasn't exactly my jammy jam yet, is the new Jack White single. It's called Love is Selfish. And it's
I see
really
that it came out. I haven't listened to it
yet. It's good. Do you know We Are Going to Be Friends?
Yeah.
Okay, it's an acoustic White Stripes song.
Okay.
You're not going to like it. I think so. The same things that you guys find wrong with Damn It by Parker Millsap is what I find wrong with this song. So
except the song has a chorus.
Doesn't. It's very lackluster.
It's an acoustic track with just Jack and an acoustic guitar. I don't know if he was supposed to set off fireworks during it or what.
I always appreciate the fireworks.
I would like to get your opinion on the video, though, Michelle.
Does he have the blue hair?
Yes, but I think he just made the show gross on accident.
It was an accident.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about something we almost always mention offhand on the show, but artists are getting screwed over, and they always are. They always have been, and we're going to talk about the latest version of that. In the second half of the show, you are listening to the Odd Pods Media Network and the Infectious Group Podcast. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Richie.
I'm Little Matt.
And here in the 500 Section Lounge, we are 3 dads who host a family-friendly weekly podcast.
Yep, we laugh, we go on tangents, we talk to great guests.
Tangents? I don't know what you're talking about with that. You know there are gases leaking?
All right, okay.
Yeah, we have legendary conversations from sports to history and everything in between.
So be on the lookout for what we do next.
And always be there to
grab a listen.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
I'm Jamie.
We're Married with Television, marriedwithtv.com. We are a couple of Hollywood normies on the outskirts of the film and TV industry, and we talk about our favorite TV shows, music, and movies, and sometimes they talk back to us.
Sometimes they do.
Our podcast is Married with Television, one word, on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Possibly Amazon soon. And we are a proud member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Married with TV!
MarriedWithTV.com.
We are back, and moving into this half of the episode, we always have our main topic of discussion here after our big couple of segments in the first half. And if you listened to last week's episode and you thought we were protective of Michael Jackson, oh boy, wait till we get going on some other artists, because I feel like that's literally one of the main reasons we started the show, was to partially because people always say, oh, there's no good rap anymore, there's no good rock anymore, and we strongly disagree with that. And I feel like some of the best feedback we've had on the show is people being like, I've never heard that before, or never even heard of that artist, and now I love them, or whatever. And we get that on the YouTube channel a lot too. People will be like, well, I'm buying that album now, and then they'll report back and be like, Jesus Christ, this album's awesome, you know.
I'm just here for the shits and giggles.
Yeah, and then eventually when we put you on the YouTube channel, the extension will be when you start your OnlyFans from your appearance on YouTube. So really, this is all here just to build your media empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to work anymore.
That's where you're going to head. You're going to want to start doing OnlyFans. You can take it to Twitter now that you have your Twitter password. Just start saying what you'll offer on your OnlyFans.
Footpics.com.
I was just going to say, just start tweeting pictures of my feet. What is happening right now?
So what we're going to talk about this week is the mistreatment of artists. And we know that the music industry has a long storied history of basically trying to wring out as much as they can out of artists, and going all the way back to the days of jazz and blues, and
the days of yore.
Not even paying the artists at all back then, you know. And then you move on into the 50s where these younger guys didn't know anything about song rights and publishing and that, you know, and they were like, yeah, go out on the road and sing, you know, this song a whole lot and we'll all be millionaires. And we all means me, you know, and these guys not knowing anything. And actually, that's another cool Michael Jackson fact is Little Richard very famously for decades didn't have the rights to his music. And when Michael Jackson came into the Thriller money, one of the first things he did was buy Little Richard's song rights and then give them to him, which I think is so rad, you know, because he grew up on Little Richard, you know, he's like, come on, man, let's get this guy paid, you know?
Nice.
Yeah. And
is he still alive?
So Little Richard has passed away.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
We need to do a whole episode of just break down for Michelle as of that recording, who's alive and who's passed.
Well, then you have to tell me who's
I
who,
wish
though.
that there was a website you could go to find information out like that. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, somebody should invent that. Ask Jeeves.
Yes. So over the years, we've heard of stuff, even back in, quote, the good old days of the music industry, right? I would ask for everybody to remember in the early to mid 90s, TLC. Mm-hmm. And a band who was absolutely topping the charts in every way you can, breaking records all over the place for a female act, and very famously had no money, you know. So this all comes from, and I feel like from our group chat earlier, Kyle would really like me to say that the source of this is a T-Pain tweet. So
yeah, it's just, it doesn't matter who. It could have been anyone who tweeted it. It's just a tweet, so I don't know what the hell it's based on.
Sure.
Yeah.
We did not fact check it.
I will say, I will say, and I won't say who, but I have a couple of friends who work in the music industry, and I sent this tweet to them and was like, what do you think about this? And both people were like, yeah, it's about right.
Yeah,
so,
once you told me that, I felt a little bit better about it.
Yeah, like, so in a way, we're just discussing a T-Pain tweet, but in a way, we're also like, no, let me put it this way. There's been no representatives from any of the three major labels to be like, that's not real.
Yeah,
you know? So if you haven't seen it, what we're discussing here is streaming and how exactly screwed over artists are on streaming. So I'm going to run this down here. This is the number of streams you need on each platform to make $1 on your song. Now, I want to, without going too far down this road, remember that $1 is not coming to the artist. No. That $1 is getting split about.
It hits 40 different people before it hits
117 different ways between lawyers and A&R people and paying back your loan to the music industry. So you're going to get this number of streams. Technically, you're going to make $1, and then you're and I say this not to be funny, you're probably going to make a percentage of a percent of like a cent.
Yes.
Okay. If you're listening on Amazon Music, it takes 249 streams of any particular song to make the artist $1.
I know I always ask this, but what do we consider a stream? Like the whole thing? Is it 10 seconds?
I don't know. Okay. I bet for each platform it's different
Okay.
anyways as well. Like we're in the Wild West as far as that goes. Like I was just seeing a thing the other day where TV shows where they used to consider someone having watched a whole season. If you watched 70% of the season or more, they counted you as having watched the whole season. When they say like, millions of Americans watch whatever. And now they switched it over to where they go to the exact minute in any given TV show.
Yeah, because before they just assumed if you watched 70%, you watched 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now with each individual service, and this is part of how artists get screwed over. Like you're right for asking that question just as a music appreciator.
Yeah.
I guarantee you every artist asks that question and they probably get the same answer I just gave.
Yes.
Which is, you just don't worry about that over there.
Yeah, don't worry, you'll make money.
Yeah. On Apple Music, you need to stream 128 times to make $1. Tidal is 78, which I think is pretty decent for Tidal to be. I mean, me and 4 other people use Tidal, but still.
I forget it exists a lot.
In the lead is Napster, which I swear I didn't know was a thing.
I honestly didn't know this is still around either.
Napster's 53 streams makes the artist $1.
Huh.
Deezer, which I've heard of but never used, is 156 streams. Pandora is 752. Holy crap! Like
Pandora's a piece
on.
Piece of shit.
Okay, why would you?
So I think that their number is so high because it's built on
Shuffling
playlists.
Right.
So like they're just inserting your song everywhere all over the platform, and it gets tossed up places.
Right.
That's still ridiculous.
Spotify's 30 seconds.
So it is what counts as a stream? Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you go around listening to 29 seconds to make sure that artists don't get like when you do our album reviews, do you listen to 29 seconds of each song so you don't give the artist any money?
Yes, but if you're listening to Apple Music, I think it's 20 seconds.
Yeah, see, I knew it would be different for everyone. Spotify, you have to have 315 streams to make $1, and the most egregious of all is YouTube Music, which, Kyle, you're contributing to the problem. I'm kidding. Is 1,250 times that has to be played before they give you $1.
30 seconds.
YouTube Music is. So,
but technically, I don't use YouTube Music. I just use YouTube to watch music videos.
Right.
So
even worse.
I feel like that's worse.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
So we're going to have a discussion around this topic. And here's the first thing I want to ask is, why do you guys think we're in this position now? Like, why are we paying artists even less now? Because I'll tell you, I want to hear from you guys first. My thing is, I feel like I can tell you why the music industry would tell you that we're in this position. But then I can also tell you why I think we really are in this position. So we'll start with you, Kyle, since you probably read the questions ahead of time. Why do you think we're in this position now? Why are we paying artists even less and less and less and less?
Because labels finally figured out the internet.
Yeah, I agree. Well, they figured out how to make it work in their favor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's now to the point where in the early days of streaming, it was very, very easy to be independent and have your music put out there. But now major labels control how your shit is distributed and how it ends up places and, pays up front for your stuff being seen. So it seems enticing.
Dude, we've talked about this before. I want to do an episode in the future about the payola scandal in like the 50s and 60s. Not only is that not a scandal now, it's, to your point, that's just openly encouraged.
Yeah, when I can't remember what Drake album it was, but when it came out, he was like the first person to buy all these banners and shit on Spotify's front page. And it wasn't a hidden thing. He paid to have all of his shit plastered all over there to make. In
that situation, I don't hate the player.
No.
You know what I mean?
But when it comes down to it, they've now secured all of the space, the musical space on the internet, basically, so that
it's like Live Nation and concerts.
Yeah, if you want to, so obviously the end goal for being a musician is to, used to be to get a record deal, to get your music out there, to make a living off of creating art.
Living off of it while having people appreciate your art.
Yes. So now they've taken all of that space from the internet and have now presented a package that is just like the old package that didn't exist on the internet. And it's just the same thing of it not being in the artist's favor.
Yeah.
And they just create a thing that you want to be a part of because you can't be successful without that.
Yep. Yeah. To circle it back to your original point is because the record labels have figured out how to make this work in their favor.
Yes.
Yeah. Michelle, why do you think we're where we're at now?
So I have some questions first.
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you think has something to do with the fact that it takes sometimes 50 people to write one song, and so then that breaks down all the money?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that's very much part of the broken system. Sure.
Okay. And then what was their payment like before the internet? Like, so for one CD, like how much did the artist make?
That's a misconception that a lot of people have because of the old way where you'd see everybody riding around in limos, like everybody from the top down riding around in limos and whatnot. And again, this is from a friend of mine who's very tenured in the music industry, corrected my thinking on that because I was living in the fantasy world of, you get signed and they just back up a Brinks truck, and they're like, here's all the money and we already rented this house for you and all this stuff. What used to happen when an artist would get signed is you would get a loan from the record label.
Yep.
And you would constantly be paying back that loan through your percentage of your album sales and merch and tour and all that stuff. But, and this is how TLC got screwed over and didn't know, everything to do with your enterprise is running on that bill still. So if let's say you put out, you sign a record contract and you get $100,000. We'll just use a lower number I'm sure it would be way more than that, but you sign a record label and you get $100,000. So from that moment, they give you that $100,000 and you're like, hooray, like, limos and gold chains and obviously bitches. But then you sell 100 million records. Well, your percentage that you signed for is all that goes toward paying back that loan. So if you sign to say you're going to get 20%, which would be insanely high, but let's say you sign and you get 20% of every record sale that goes out, right? Mm-hmm. That 20% that comes back in, the 20% of every album sale goes toward paying your loan back, and the other 80% still goes to the record label.
Yes.
To pay for whatever
until you pay back the $100,000.
Until you pay back the $100,000. So that's how TLC turns around twice and is like, we are out of a home while you have the number one album in the nation. So yeah.
And so those advances they give artists it's essentially, they're just paying for advertising. So they encourage an artist to go buy all this stuff or buy all this designer shit and then flaunt it off because that it perpetuates the notion that if you sign with us, you're going to have all this money.
Yep.
So it brings more people in the door.
Right.
And it's just a continuous cycle of abuse.
A famous example is when Prince very famously got out of his contract with Warner Brothers. One of the very smart things that Prince did that I've seen a lot of artists go down the same path that Prince made successful. But one thing that he did that I haven't seen anybody else try is he just started shopping around each individual record to record labels and being like, give me as much money as I'm worth for this album. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Emancipation came out on his own label. And then each record that came out after that, he would shop around the labels and be like, whoever is going to pay me what this album is worth is going to get to put it out. And one of my favorite Prince albums that I think is criminally underrated is 1999's Raven to the Joy Fantastic. And it came out on Arista Records. And I thought, how did they screw this? Like, you have one of the best Prince records in a decade. How did you screw this up? And about a year ago, I did some research on that album and found out that Arista wanted to win the bidding war so bad that they paid Prince like everything that they had to get the album. So when it got released, they had no money left to promote it or anything at all. And so they just put it out on shelves and we're like, well, I hope everybody hears about it. So they got screwed by their own system that was set up with the record industry because nobody knew this Prince record was out. And to this day, I kid you not, it's one of my favorite Prince albums. Like, I would put it in the discussion with Purple Rain. It's one of my favorite Prince records that there is. And I've had full-on people be like, go through my record bins and be like, when did this come out? Because nobody knew, because Arista spent all the money to try and get Prince on the label. And, Prince has got to be like, well, I got paid, you know?
And it's the whole system is built on taking advantage of people who don't know any better.
Oh, absolutely.
And you never hear about the people who were smarter than the record labels and, it still exists now. Like, you have Tech Nine, you have ICP, you have...
Yeah, well, if you look at Prince, though, what did they do with him for the whole 90s? Everybody they put that idea out there. Oh, well, Prince is crazy.
Yeah.
They put the idea out there because he was the only person who figured out how to screw over the labels.
The industry can dog Tech Nine all they want, but he's never had to sign a record deal with a major label because he created his own system for doing things.
Right.
And same with ICP, and same with
Jay-Z and Rocka.
So Cash Money did it too, But they signed like this. It's like I think it's like the biggest record deal ever,
right?
And because Baby had signed, basically he was signing a record deal for all of his artists at once,
right?
So it was like a package deal.
Yep.
But I think that he kept all the publishing. Like it was a very, very in his favor or in their favor
like,
thing.
LaFace Records.
Yeah, that does
Reed
not exist nowadays. Yeah.
So then, how is this worse?
How is it worse now?
Yes.
Now the artists are getting paid like even less than they were before. Now they're not even getting the advance to like help themselves out at all. Now it's like, oh well, the lords have decided that you're going to get put on playlists. And
so if you don't get the advance, then you don't have to pay it back. And then also, streaming has access like to billions of people have access to now to listen to music. So when you think about 56 or 76 streams across the entire world, it seems like, you know, to make $1, that's a lot. But like when you think of how many streams you could get, I'm honestly asking.
No, I know that. But again, though, so the way it was before was when that dollar came in, you got a percentage of it, but there was a huge marketing machine behind you, and you still were getting paid as an artist. Now you get that many streams out of them doing all that stuff, and when the percentage comes in, you're still getting a percent of the percentage. You know what I mean? So like that dollar that comes in, the artist is probably getting, you know, half of 1 cent from that dollar, and everything else is going back
that they have to split 5 ways.
Right, is going back to these media conglomerate and huge organizations that don't need the money, and they're just rinsing and repeating on artists.
And so they also created the 360 deal, right? So artists used to make extra money off of merch and all the stuff that they do on the side.
Yeah.
A 360 deal, a percentage of everything that the artist is involved in goes back to the record label until whatever money that you owe them is paid off or until your contract is up.
And then do you get 100%?
Well, no, because you have to sign another deal to stay on the label. You would sign for another 3 or 4 albums or whatever you sign for. So it's a continuous cycle of borrowing and then repaying and then borrowing again and then repaying and then borrowing again, unless you were to go independent.
Yeah, and the only people that are going to bust out of that cycle are like a Garth Brooks or, you know what I mean, established. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see a superstar again, ever, along the lines of like a Madonna, like mostly one name people, Madonna, Prince, Garth, you know what I mean? Like, we're never going to see an artist like that because they're not going to let somebody become that big. And it's very rinse and repeat.
And, you know, I appreciate T-Pain for bringing this up because he lived the life of being on top of the world and seeing how everything works, and now I think he might have some sort of like small record deal or whatever, and just does stuff on his own and whatever else.
Sells a lot of voice changing microphones.
Yeah, well, yeah, he does, and like he said that he makes more money off of playing video games on Twitch than he does off of music currently. Yeah. So
I don't want to sidebar too much on this, but there's a huge controversy about the WWE superstars.
Yeah.
Because now they're not allowed to do that, and they were all making a lot more money off of that avenue. Yeah, and again, not to talk too far into the future, but Michelle and her OnlyFans channel, she will make a lot more on that.
And the reason, like I said, I'm glad that he spoke out about this because you don't hear anybody, you don't hear Drake talk about this, you don't hear anybody because they're so far up at the top in the upper echelon that it doesn't matter.
Pulled the ladder up behind them.
Yeah, so they have so much push in the industry from the people that they're making money for that they're making. So you think about the money that Drake is making himself, you know, to have this giant house and shit. He's making 10 times that for the record label.
Oh yeah,
and so it doesn't even matter that he's paying all that money to the record label because he still has a shitload of money left over for himself.
Yep.
So that the scale is so great when you're at the top like that like it doesn't matter. They don't ever talk about it. It's not a thing.
So the next question I have in the discussion, and this is probably one of the more important questions for me personally, is I'm going to cross my fingers and start with Michelle on this. Do you think this affects the quality of the music that we're getting? Like,
Absolutely.
So you think, well, I'll share my opinion in a second, but how do you think it's affecting the quality?
I think we talked about it with like the new like TikTok generation where it's just a one-hit wonder, not even a wonder, it's just a one hit, and then they throw you aside and move on to the next person. And I honestly think a lot of these people are making music in their, on their own, and then they get found. So then they get signed on for this one song and they get taken for a ride, and then that's it.
I feel like we're in an age, this has forced us to be in an age of let me back up real quick. I have no problem with pop music. Yeah. I adore pop music. I went through a huge thing in the early 2000s where I was like the only open Backstreet Boys and NSYNC fan that I knew, because all the other guys I knew were like, "Oh, really? You're gonna listen?" Yeah, because it's great music. Like, I'll listen to that and this. You know what I mean? Like, it's great music. Me personally, I think if you're gonna have the nerve to crap on NSYNC and say I don't like boy bands, then you better throw your Beatles records away, because their first 3 records they were a boy band, and there's no two ways about that.
I mean, they play their own instruments.
And many of the guys in those bands are infinitely talented on instruments as well. They may not play on the records. Like the Monkees famously didn't play on their records, but they knew how to play instruments, and they played them on tour. And once they got more control, arguably they made better music than they put out in the first place. You know, so I want to be clear and say that I'm not dunking on pop music, okay? But I do feel like what we're going to continue to get is the lowest common denominator of music, because you're going to get whoever just wants to grab whatever you're throwing out there. You don't have somebody like Prince, who's an unqualified genius, going, you're going to pay me what this is worth. You have, like you said, Michelle, someone sitting in their basement going, Jesus Christ, I hope somebody gives me some money for this.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And you're going to take just last week alone, we talked about the context of the song DS, right? You are never going to have another artist that I have to sit and explain to you like the context of the song. You're just going to be like, oh, okay, so this song is about getting up and drinking, and I can tell because he says, I'm going to get up and drink like 4 times in the chorus, right?
Did you watch that video I sent about Gail? She sings that ABCDEF song where it was like somebody from the record label was like, you should do a song about this, and she was like, okay.
Yeah, I know.
And that's how she got discovered.
Well, and there you go, right? Yeah. And so now, the perfect example of lowest common denominator. You have someone who wrote a song that's based loosely off of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, which I want to say is one of the oldest hits in English. You know, it's up there with Happy Birthday as far as which, by the way, Happy Birthday took 2 people to write. I learned that watching the show Sports Night years ago.
Is it public domain now?
I think so. Finally, yeah. So that joke's out of date now. But yeah, so Kyle, I'm getting the impression that you agree as well that we're getting lower quality music.
I'm glad that you mentioned the boy band thing, because those guys signed by far one of the worst deals that you could ever sign.
We need to do an episode on Lou.
Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know,
Lou
Pearlman, he had himself written in the contract as like the 6th member of the Backstreet Boys.
Which, if you've ever seen him, he's indistinguishable from the others.
So not only did he get all the kickback from everything else, he got the kickback, the artist kickback, for being one of the members of the band that he was not a part of.
Yeah. You know what, though? Part of me is like, all right.
Yeah, so
that's something Michelle would pull.
You signed it.
It's hard for me to be like, well, that's on them for not paying attention, and like that's genius of him. But
you also end up with that too, though. If you're 5 guys in Orlando, you're going to be like, wait, you're going to pay me how much to go do this, but in a bigger place?
And when it comes down to it, Lou Pearlman was just a fucking swindler. So yeah,
we need to do an episode on him.
We do
in general. That would require somebody to do some research. I'm not going to look.
Can I just watch it together?
Or O-Town.
Yes.
So for me, that's a huge deal because, you know, and again, I don't mean this in a snobby way, but like my favorite music is like moving, thought-provoking music. You know, Simon and Garfunkel, Pink Floyd, Michael Jackson, NSYNC, obviously. I would like someone to show me the meaning of being lonely. And you know, for me, that's what moves me, and I love the hell out of a lot of pop music. There's a time and a place for everything. I think I've said that a lot on the show, but like we're quickly going to a point where there's not going to be anything but the frivolous stuff. You know, and I want more.
At least not readily available in advertising.
Well, and we're gonna get there. We'll get there.
I was recently watching something that it pertains more to actors, but at one time, fame was a byproduct of being very, very talented and good at something.
Yep.
But now fame is the end goal of doing something. So like you were saying with these TikTokers, like they're only on TikTok to be seen. And if you only have the capability to write some shit that is going to be 10 seconds long and just loop over and over again on TikTok, then you're just being given money to go toward what's popular right now.
Some of the greatest songwriters of all time were found doing what they do their own way.
Yes.
And then people were like, oh, well, let's get you involved in, you know, being a bigger deal. Like Simon and Garfunkel did not play in coffee houses in New York in being like, somebody's going to come find us. Like they were just writing, Paul Simon was writing these deep songs about what he saw as life as an American and living in New York. And someone came and found them.
And that's, like, so people over glorify Nirvana all the time for different things, but they're very much the same kind of thing. Like they didn't ask for a record deal. Right. They had somebody come to them and like, look, you are super fucking talented and more people need to hear your music.
Right. Geffen came a knocking. Kurt wasn't running around looking for a deal.
Right. Yeah. And it was much more of that back in the day. Now it's the other way around. Like, what can I do to get a record deal?
Yeah.
Not the opposite way.
We work hard to make the show not doom and gloom, but my answer to this next question is all doom and gloom. Do you ever see this changing? And I'll start with myself here. I don't. I think we have painted ourselves into such a crappy corner with music right now to where I don't think that there's going to be, like, especially with the platforms like TikTok and streaming, and it's so easily accessible to just take what's served to you so easily right up front, right? I don't see the general public being like, oh, well, I'm going to seek out other things for myself, which we'll get to your point, Michelle, we'll get to in a minute about like how we can do better as fans. But as the general public, I just don't like, do you ever see this changing, Kyle? Or do you think that we're in a point now where there's no turning back from this?
There is no turning back. And it all, like everything, it all comes down to money, right? So TikTok comes out, and before recently you'd post a song on Instagram, it gets taken down. Because you're using someone's song and no one's being paid for it, right? Right. Now, the record labels pump a shitload of money into TikTok to cover the expenses of using these songs, and it perpetuates the bullshit that's going on.
So that Michelle can get her way and consume 30 seconds of a song and move on.
And to be fair, a lot of people put these songs up and they're like, not advertised as what they are. It's like hide them so that they don't get taken down.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, that the things that are openly on the platform is what they are, is it's being pumped up by the record labels.
Yeah, it's all part of the machine.
Yes, so every time something new comes out, it gets gobbled up by whoever can throw enough money at it to gobble it up.
Right.
And then everyone else has to kind of eat off of it.
And I wouldn't care at all if the quality level was higher.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and I've used this example on the show before. From 85 and before, if you put your song in a TV commercial for anything, it was like artist death. Like you would not catch Dylan. You wouldn't catch Dylan or somebody doing something like that. But the game changed so much, like the band Fun, who I adore. The first time I ever heard that band was in a Microsoft commercial, and I'm so thankful for that Microsoft commercial. However, I would submit that nothing I've heard on TikTok in the last 2 years is even close to the level of the band Fun.
Yes, I agree.
And that, dude, by the way, isn't my taste.
Yeah.
You know, like you have way more diverse taste than I do as far as like hip hop and rap and whatnot. And I don't ever hear you being like, oh man, I found this awesome artist through this means. You know what I mean?
So for the longest time, I used whatever algorithm that YouTube was using. It did a very, very good job. So I found people like The Weeknd and Lana Del Rey and Jameson and all these people by listening to other people that were like them.
Yeah.
And it kind of evolved into me like being able to find this stuff. But like now, like it doesn't work the same way.
No,
and it's really hard when you have companies with lots of money controlling what you have access to. It's really hard to find stuff. Yeah.
And you notice with major corporations, there's things like the FCC in place to make sure that monopolies like that don't happen. But with the music industry, you can just run and do whatever you want.
Yes.
Michelle, do you ever see this changing, or are you just happy the way it is? I feel like of the three of us, you're probably the most go with the flow on this. You're like, they give me 30-second songs. I get to swipe up if I don't like this song and immediately move on to the next one.
I don't think it'll change.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
I appreciate your passion for my passion. I went on this giant tirade. Kyle backs me up, and then Michelle's like, it's fine.
I don't know. I don't know what the alternative would be.
So that's my last question for this discussion is, what can we do? And what's okay, so let's say I'm super mad. Okay, I would love for the Lone Bellow to be known way bigger than they are. I've
actually asked Michelle before, is how are they not more well
known? Exactly, because you've heard, you've seen, like you go look and you're like, Jesus, right? Even amongst people who love singer-songwriters, people that listen to the Lumineers, that listen to Mumford & Sons and that type of thing, Ed Sheeran, like singer-songwriter type stuff. You bring up the Lone Bellow to them and they're like, the who now?
Yeah.
And then when you play a track or you take them to a show, they're like, Jesus Christ, right? So what do we do as a music fan to help that along instead of just putting up with, well, I don't know, it just is what it is. Like, what would you do?
Well, so first of all, when I say it is, like, I think it's just going to say, like, we're never going to get away from the Spotify's, from the Apple Music, from Pandora. Like, it's just, that's too much ingrained in our society unless there's something bigger and better that comes along, unless they stream it straight to our brains. Like, I don't know what the future holds. But what we talked about since day one on this show is just to go out and talk to people and speak your truth and
find it on your own and promote it.
Yeah, and tell your friends about it. Take a friend to a show when it's not a pandemic, or I will say that if you're really passionate about it, that other people should know, and you should speak about it. We've
said this a lot, that I think the biggest compliment we get on the show is people being like, I had no idea, and then I heard Michelle talk about it, or Russ talked about it, or Kyle talked about it, and then like now I love that artist, So
go tell your friends that.
Yeah, and go tell other people first to listen to us. And then also, about that artist, or I feel like the only way that these artists that we like, and I don't mean to come off some underground hipster. I don't again, I listen to so much pop. Like I haven't listened to it yet, but I bought the new Adele album. That's pretty popular. I feel like the best way that you can help these artists is that way, and also other avenues too. Like I know, Kyle, you're big on buying directly from the artist if you can.
Yeah, I always try. Yeah, I always try to do that.
Yeah, like me personally, I will try. Now, I'm not getting on any sort of high horse. One thing that irritates me online is when you see people post constantly about the evil organization that is Amazon, and for a fact they have like 4 Amazon packages showing up at their house. It's like, well, that looks good on social media, but like enjoy your 4 Amazon packages, right? So I don't mean to be like, I don't ever buy from Amazon. I buy a lot of records from Amazon. Okay. But when I can, or if there's an option, like for example, the Lone Bellow, the last 3 LPs that I bought from the Lone Bellow, I waited until we saw them in concert and bought them directly from the band at the show because I had that option.
Yeah.
There's people like Parker Millsap that don't like us and won't come here, so I can buy his records directly from him. Yeah, he'll talk to us on the show, but he won't come and do a show here. Come on now. But like that's things, and even lesser known artists, or artists I would say are on the like a lot of the 80s bands that I like I will buy their stuff directly from them if at all possible. As far as corporate stuff goes, like if Eminem puts out a new record, I will jump through 0 hoops to buy that. I will buy that corporate record from whatever corporate thing I can get the best deal on, right? But as far as supporting the artist directly, like I feel like you and I are in line on that, right? Like, and do you feel like that's the best, besides what we're doing here, actively trying to help other people?
So the whole thing is it's literally a cat and mouse game, right? So the music industry has caught up to how we were, because a lot of sharing music and finding music that you had never heard of came from piracy, and just sharing stuff with your friends and mixtapes and that kind of shit.
I used to burn CDs constantly for other people, and not from the idea of like, I'm going to give you this album for free, for being like, here's an artist you should love.
Yes, it was to spread music, not to be like, I didn't have to pay for this. Right. So now that the industry has caught up, we have to go back to what we used to do. And if you have a friend that listens to Slipknot, they listen to a bunch of other shit you've never heard of.
Yeah.
And if you act interested in what they're listening to or what you're listening to together, then they're going to tell you about what else they're listening to, and then that puts you on. So it's the face, like Michelle was saying, the face to face. That's how it used to be. Like I found so many bands from like metal bands just from liking one and meeting other people that liked the same thing but had a bunch of other stuff I never heard of.
Yeah, go to a concert and ask somebody about the T-shirt they're wearing.
Yeah, so, and so we have to go back to that. We're going back to that now because the internet now is being taken over by the corporations.
But the good thing about the internet is like you could be like, hey, have you heard the new Lumineers? And anybody pretty much will find an avenue to go check it out. Now, then everyone has to do the next step, though, whereas they support these artists by purchasing their music.
That's for folks that don't follow your tried and true method, though, of what is it? Find it, found it, or followed it and forgot it.
Yeah.
For people who don't follow that.
Well, so you talk about the internet. Well, even if you use social media, and if I go on my Facebook right now and I post, hey, go check this song out, 5 of my 607 friends are going to see that. So, like, it's still...
600 friends on Facebook.
I actually have no idea how many.
I'm just kidding.
I don't even know how many. I stopped counting.
It's not a very good sound. I'm not that big of a deal. I'm just kidding.
But, so it's still... what people are seeing from you is still controlled by someone else.
Oh, the algorithm overlords.
It's freedom of speech, man.
It's...
and there's no... what's funny is, again, we have all the social media that all of us run for the show. It's definitely not just me. And like our Facebook, every single Facebook post I make, they're like, a lot of more people would see this if you would, pay us to boost it.
Oh, yeah.
And every single time I'm like, no, people would see it naturally if you wouldn't hold it down.
Yes.
And that's just us and our little old show. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine how frustrating it is for an artist. And like to Michelle's point though, you do have that ability to just go, I have X many friends on Facebook. I'm going to put this out and hope people see it.
We're getting to a point now where being a musician is no longer a job that you can have to support yourself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So if you get famous or you have some hit song, you can't just go work at McDonald's after you are done, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Because people on social media are vile.
Yeah. So
they won't treat you like a human being.
We are at the point where these people who we look to that are talented and that we like to listen to can't do what they want to because no one wants to pay them what they deserve.
Yep.
And an artist shouldn't have to sell NFTs on the side to make a living to be able to create music that we all want to listen to. That shouldn't be a thing.
I have a friend of ours is in a band who during some of the pandemic was driving Uber.
Yeah,
said that more than a few people got in the car and were like, are you, and one of them though, and it was actually two members of the band did that. And one of them said that they turned it into a positive. There was fans that he would like Bluetooth his phone and be like, hey, you want to hear demos from the next record? Which I think is awesome. Those people were like, you're never going to believe what happened to me in Uber today.
It's like Cash Cab.
Yeah. Yes, it's exactly like Cash Cab. I feel like this is a topic we could probably we've revisited in many different ways. We could in the future.
Like what I was saying is, how like Eminem opened the little pop-up shop spaghetti thing. Like he did that as like a haha, look at like this. But like there are artists that like probably have to own a restaurant because they only make money from the restaurant and not from what they're good at.
Yep.
So like maybe they're good at making French fries.
Maybe. But like there's a reason why many artists it tends to be more in the hip hop realm of things because they get taken advantage of.
Diversify better, yeah.
Yeah, so they own fast food restaurants, chains of things, all sorts of shit that has nothing to do with music.
I don't want to generalize, but this is meant to be a compliment. I feel like once the Motown Records deal went down in the 50s, I feel like ever since then, urban artists have been like, okay, well, we're going to figure a way around that.
Yeah.
Make sure that never happens
that's
again.
what I was saying with the whole Cash Money thing. Like, they were like, he was like, yeah, if you do this and this and this and this, and they were like, okay. And he got them to agree to some very, very, very good deal for them.
Yeah.
Versus what happens the rest of the time.
For sure. So I love this debate. I'm very excited outside of Michelle. No, it's fine. It's not going to change it. It's fine. Outside of that, I was very excited about the discussion that we had.
I did good?
I feel like you did, yes. We'll hear from folks on if Michelle is great or not.
Michelle did good.
Yeah. Hashtag Michelle did good.
And I also don't want people to think that I'm like the guy who's like, fuck corporate America and corporations.
You are that guy.
I am that guy, but also I get very, very excited when I have musician friends and when they post something that they just inked a deal with the Pistons or the Red Wings. I'm like, shit, yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe. It's like I say, like I have my own issues with Amazon.
Yeah.
But I don't rail against them online all the time because I like just placed an order from Amazon before I'm about to make that Facebook post, and it's a hard line to walk.
It really
what
is.
You're saying.
Yeah, because I am very much against like, three people hoarding the wealth of the entire country. But like, I also am very, very for like little people that I know signing these huge like deals with people.
For what it's worth, here's why I think you're justified in any criticism.
Yeah.
Because for me, what I hate is, and I love this phrase, slacktivism. People that just bitch all the time about the problem and then never do anything about it. And as of this episode, you're 2 years into taking time out of your week every week to research about these topics, to come here and record, to help with the promotion. If that could start soon, that'd be great. But no, like you have these opinions, but you're also backing it up for 2 years straight now, weekly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you're justified in whatever you have to say. Again, this is me saying this, but I feel like you're justified in what you have saying because you're saying here's a problem and I'm going to try and help solve it, right? Whereas most people, I feel like, would be like, oh, those damn record labels, and then not even rush out to get 2-for-1 deals on vinyl or something to like make sure they get the lowest possible price. Which I understand getting a deal, but like you can't on one side of your mouth say that I love the artist and then like try and screw them over as much as possible. So,
yes, I agree.
having said that, like I said, this was our 2-year episode, which I think is awesome. So we haven't killed each other yet.
We've tried.
Yeah.
She tries to kill me all the time.
We're going to end up doing a true crime podcast eventually.
Whether we like it or not.
By some means. Next week, when we return, we're going to do something that has been wildly popular, and that is our album review. But I feel like the more popular episodes are the crowdsourced episodes, and that is what's coming up next week. We are going to have listener Mike Downing provide an album for us to review. Michelle, just so you know ahead of time, that's Mike from Chicago. So that's Chicago Mike. Chicago Mike. Okay. He has given us an album to review. I will announce what that is on social media in a couple of days, as I always do after you're hearing this episode. To anybody who listened to the episode, the podcast for the first time, thank you so much for all that feedback and for sticking with us here. And as you heard on this episode, it doesn't really get much better from Michelle, but Kyle and I have a lot to offer. So we're doing what we can. As we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
Bye. The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Kosalecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.